opportunity to meet Carla Van Walsum at a Women's Prosperity Network event, and there was only one chair left. And we happened to sit next to each other, and I just knew as soon as she sat down next to me that there was something very, very special, because I trusted the voice inside of me, and the voice inside of me paid attention to the energy that this woman actually just shined sitting next to me. And the more that we started talking, again, as everyone knows that I have the marketing and business background, and as soon as I sat down and we started talking, I realized that she had such a powerful message. She had a powerful gift, and was, like a lot of inspirational metaphysical teachers out there, they just have a hard time, getting their message very, very clear, because we come from spirit. And again, this is what we're talking about in Allow Your Vision to Soar, and in the Vision Quest conference is, we're teaching other spiritual, inspirational people how to take the vision out of their head and put it into a strategic manner so that people can learn how to work with them. However, once I started working with her, I realized her background was just amazing. And then when the book came along, and I'm like, oh, she's got to be an author, we talked to each other, and she immediately said, yes, I'm in. So I'm going to read to you a bio about her, and then we're going to get into a little bit about her chapter, but more importantly, her work called the Systemic Constellation Family Work that I actually experienced, and I want everyone to understand the power of her teachings. So Carla Van Walsum is a relationship expert with a thriving holistic psychotherapy practice in South Florida. She has helped hundreds of clients make quantum progress through her unique combination of psychological, spiritual, and metaphysical approaches. Her extensive study of European, American, and Eastern philosophies provide the foundation for her work. These clinically validated techniques and powerful alternative approaches have helped many clients to heal acute and lifelong patterns and emotional pain, struggling relationships, family burdens, and stress. Carla's style incorporates a great sense of compassion, intuition, and empowerment. Each client is treated with respect in an environment that is non-judgmental and free of labeling. Clients include individuals, couples, and children struggling with feelings of depression, anxiety, addiction, adoption, divorce, effects of war, Holocaust and Vietnam, lack of life purpose, and other challenges. Carla works with energetic principles to elevate consciousness and awareness of the client's true potential to create the best possible future. Carla's career as a psychotherapist began in her native Holland, where she studied psychology and integrative psychotherapy. She is a systemic family constellation facilitator, having studied directly under the direction of Dr. Bert Hellinger. After moving to the United States with her family in 2004, she pursued her vision of bridging traditional and metaphysical approaches by delving into a doctoral program in transpersonal counseling. I just lost my place. Carla speaks 6 languages, and in addition to her personal counseling work, is a published author, a popular speaker, and a workshop presenter. Certifications and training include systemic family constellations, nonviolent communication, NLP, neuro-emotional integration, the work, and hypnotherapy. She is also the proud creator of Happy Children, Happy Home, Life's Hidden Truths, Peace Around Divorce, and Peace Around Adoption. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Carla Van Walsum, my friend, the next author in our book, and an amazing, amazing healer. Welcome, Carla.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. I'm happy to be here, and thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Again, I was telling everybody in the beginning is that when you and I first met, it was just an amazing energy. It was almost like an energy, wasn't it?
That's true. Yeah, I still recall that. And I came late on purpose. I don't know why. And there was just that only chair there, and boom.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we started talking about, we started talking about some of the past human labels that I had been given which gave us, into a segue into some of the work that you do. And then I started really looking at your marketing pieces because, again, what I do for a living, part of what I do for a living, and then started really digging into, because a lot of the past labels that I had as a growing up was a lot of the things that you work with, which is the adoption and the fear and the blame and the shame and the guilt and all those feelings that go around with it. So I'd like to let our listeners listen to a little bit about your personal journey. Of course, they're going to be able to read this in the book, but I'd like to, when did you realize, and where were you at when you realized that you trusted the voice inside of you in order for you to allow your vision to soar?
Well, my whole life, actually, I had a feeling I want to help people. And that was a kind of vague statement, and people laughed sometimes about that, from what does that mean? And it was staying there, and if I thought about it, I got a great fuzzy feeling inside. And when I heard the word psychology as a kid, I started to read about it more, and I said, this is what I want to do as a first step. I didn't know nothing else because I was small, and I was also clairvoyant and claircognizant. So I had certain pictures, certain ideas that I shut down because it was not so appreciated always. So anyway, I felt I have a task here. I want to help the world getting better. And I'm born after the Second World War, of course, but in the aftermath of all these losses and pain, and I thought, I want to contribute to it, that children will be treated nicer, and indeed, seeing the many labels and punishment and all this, and understanding that there is a lack of compassion, and that adults talk from their own pain and don't have the awareness that they could heal this and change it and create different opinions. So that taught me a lot, and passively, I observed that, and I wasn't happy so much. So altogether, that created a wish to do that later on. And then there was always that latent feeling of wanting to do that, to study psychology. I first became a musician for different reasons, and I was longing all the time, I have to be there. I didn't care. I played for an audience of thousands of people, and they loved it so much. It was nice for them that they liked it, but I wanted to do something else. So I did. And then I started to study psychology, and I always had that feeling inside, that's it. This is where I have to be. And then I was done with that, and I wasn't so happy because after a while, because I realized that when people go back to their problems and talk about it only, they don't heal so much. And it is also a reason that they stay for years in therapy often, although it gives many insights, of course, too. So I thought, it's again, these labels is not giving the total picture of a person. A label, which is so totally followed in the psychology world, like the medical model, a label is identification, and it can be very helpful, of course. But we are much more than only a collection of labels. So that's where the holistic idea on that whole with a W starting came in, and then I really started to search for other modalities because I wanted really to provide more emotional healing.
Mm-hmm. And let's face it, in today's society with people losing their homes, they're losing their lives as they know it, they're losing their jobs, and there's so much chaos going on in the world today, and so many people are so full of blame. And one of the things that you said about this, and we know as metaphysical, spiritual living people, that there is no such thing as poverty. There is no such thing as, loss. They're all lessons, but it's up to us to make that shift. But if we can let go of those labels, and just say, and come from great, one thing you talk about here is being grateful.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. And that is one of the most powerful things I discovered is working with the energies like gratitude and like forgiveness, letting go, and love, That is so
and
powerful
love.
and healing by just working with them, focusing on them. And you know that, Kimberly, then the whole world around you shifts. But before you really can be there, you need really to undergo a process of thinking to allow that in your life to unfold and to forget all your cognitive ideas and all your objections, how it should be and how it must be, and etc. It's also about surrender to what comes on your path.
Right, and it starts with letting go of the fear and practice blessing everyone. And like you say here, is I let go of fear and practice blessing everyone, everything as Essene Jews did 2,000 years ago. This practice replaces many hours of therapeutic counseling work. The energy around you clears and shifts totally and helps free you from the negative attachment and the circumstance. And it's, some people say, well, that's easier said than done. I'm losing my home. I'm losing my I don't even put food in into my belly. My children are starving, or, I've got a son who's addicted, or, all those negative energies that we talk about. And if you can shift that into pure gratitude for, there's a lesson here, because I have this saying that things are not happening to you, they're happening for you. But then coming out of that victim mentality.
Yeah.
That's where so many people get stuck.
Well, it is also in one side important to look at the pain, because you cannot fully manifest the best things if blocks and pain are underneath. It is also important to address that and to heal that before you take other steps. And I'm actually happy that you bring up the fear for living, like losing your house, losing your jobs. That is an extra challenge to turn that positively, because that's not easy. And you know what? I have gone through that. I have really gone through that myself, coming to America 7 years ago and having a great life in Holland. Everything was great, and I would only come here for 3 years. And we started to come here, and everything started to change, and we started to lose and lose and lose. So I was myself on that place totally lost. I was not lost, but totally like feeling lost and feeling like everything is falling apart. And I have 3 kids, and it is my responsibility, and my former husband's as well, of course. So I have gone through that fear, and I have found all these methods how to get out. And it was so interesting that in that period of time, I attracted many clients who had the same problem. So hardly anybody could pay me, but I wanted to help them anyway. So I was like, again and again, it's like the mirror of yourself, what you manifest, That was so funny to see that at certain moments. Like, oh my God, I also wanted to manifest paying clients, or clients who were really helping me to pay my bills.
And that's where we go into it. Go ahead.
No, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. That was the reflex.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a time delay, like I spoke about in the beginning, but I forget what I was going to say. Oh, that's what I try to tell people, is that, that's one thing I want to teach, at Vision Quest, and what you're teaching and what we're trying to come from here is that money is energy, and it's here to serve us. Having money allows us to serve others. But again, when if you're stuck in that fear, you're not allowing the prosperity and the abundance to come in. And there is work, like myself, with so many past human labels. I mean, I'm constantly learning. It's always evolving. And I just had a situation come up with it. My abandonment issues came back up again. And we still have to do some work on that, because I did this family constellation work with you whenever I went back and healed with my mother. And then, as you well know, we've now reunited. And it's a totally, totally different relationship than what it was when we met, in 2001. But by doing your work, I was able to see the soul connection and get to really feel and experience the other side and how she would feel. So again, it's about doing the work, listening to the voice inside of you, and know that you're not stuck. But if you're still creating all this chaos, and you're still, creating all these unfortunate situations, then there's something still stuck. And I think what you talk about being stuck in your subconscious mind.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's the idea, for instance, with reality. We are brought up in a way of thinking that what we see is the reality, but that differs for everybody already. And you can create your reality with doing different work, and that is different work than we have learned as kids or in school. It is totally different, and I love to teach this to teenagers and to younger children and to parents and whoever wants to, because it gives great changes, and it is so empowering, and yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, and see, by looking at two, you said like World War II, which caused 60 million deaths. Wow.
60 million. Yeah.
60 million deaths.
Yeah.
And again, getting back to war, because you even mentioned down into your chapter that 2012 is when this book is written, and the world is supposed to end this year. I hope it does end. And I say, when I say end, what you're talking about is let's get back to love. Let's get back to what life was about 2,000 years ago. Stop the war, stop the politics, stop all this craziness that's going on, because as you well know, we're among a big, huge global shift that's happening right now.
Yeah.
And by reading this story, my heart just sank. 60 million deaths World War II caused. So I can imagine how that impacted your family, being from that area and being Jewish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but this was only one war. There were so many in the last century.
Oh, so many.
But I feel very strongly that 2012, yes, the old world is ending, is meaning to be ended, and that's the old mechanisms of what how we were living, with the judgment, with the blame, and a lower consciousness of communicating. And also in the last few years, following my inner voice, as you say it so nicely, I needed inspiration. I was really feeling down, like where do I need to go? I need to go somewhere. So I went to a bookstore. I love to read, so let me go to a bookstore, and I knew there I will find an answer. And that was a strong knowing. So I went there, I was standing in borders, and a book spontaneously fell on my foot. And I picked it up, and it was a book about angels. And now I spoke to angels. I knew I got messages, but I didn't talk about that. So I said, okay, now you go to buy that book, and now you go to read it. And I started to develop myself in angel therapy afterwards. I worked every day with angel cards to pop myself up. I went through my divorce in that way. I didn't have a lawyer. And I really did it all by myself. My family is not here. And I was just putting so much power and inspiration from the other world, so to say. And that gave me a great power and shift. And that made me also so decided and to teach it to others and to share that for who wants to listen and who is ready to that. And I think that's the new world we are coming to, that we are listening more to ourselves and more on a level of loving, compassionate kindness.
Mm-hmm.
It would be nice.
I think people are becoming awakened, whether they like it or not, at lightning speed. Some of the people that I work with, some of the people you work with, it's like, why am I experiencing all this stuff? I'm seeing things, I'm hearing things. It's like, because it's time. The universe and scientists are even coming over on our side now, being proven more and more that, the universal, like I say, God and these universal powers are very, very real. And the archangels are very real. They're here. They're here to assist us. It's not like we're going crazy. Because for the longest time I wanted to bury my head in the sand and say, like the gift that I was given, I say now as a child, I now embrace. And that's by being the intuitive and being, I guess, psychic in a way, because we're all intuitive. We all intuitive. We are all psychic. It's just honing into that and trusting that voice inside of you. One of the things you talk about here is, two phrases often whispered in your head was love is the answer and compassion is needed, which identified yourself coming from Archangel Uriel. And you even named one of your children that, right?
Yeah. That's true. And that was actually unconscious. I had the feeling to choose that name, and it means fire and light of God. And the fire he had, because he scored very high on the ADHD letter, but that is also related to children who are very sensitive and open and get a lot and don't have the emotional fundament to digest it all. The kids will get so much. That's also one of the reasons that you can diagnose or give a label ADHD, but they have actually different talents and different way of looking at the world and are very sensitive, which is a gift. I tell every child I work with, it's a gift that you have it because it is a power, and we make it into a power. The school system doesn't think that it is a gift, but I'm telling you it is. And that helps them because that's the bad thing of labels. You feel something is missing. So you are raised with something, I'm lacking something. I am not good the way I am. And that's very sad.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that a little bit because that is prevalent and it is going crazy in the world today. Because, again, they're giving these labels. And then, like, for instance, one of my labels was ADD, which I call Aliens Dancing Daily, and I embrace that inside me because, again, if you take away my creativity, that's when I'm going to die. If you take away my brain that just has huge visions, which they call ADD, then that's part of my I am. So teaching people how to embrace that, but not just give them a pill.
No, and it's interesting to me that you say that kind of explanation. I say about ADHD attached to dialing into a higher dimension. So that's in a way what you do too. It is you're connected to more further than just being present here, which is great to acknowledge that. It's a power, again. It's great to look from it that way. And
it's about, again, like you even say in your chapter too, you say, everybody has all these, experiences that happen, instead of shifting that over to gratitude and love and not getting down into what I call the onesies and twosies of energy, and really embracing that authentic self from the very beginning. So many people wait until they've had 40, 50 years of lessons underneath their belt before they find their authentic self. But if they can just bring themselves back to, as what you teach, to that child that you were when you came out of the womb that was full of life and love and happiness and peace and joy. And, again, doing the work through, one of your modalities or one of the other authors' modalities, and knowing that, you are your authentic self and you're okay just the way you are.
So important, so important. I believe that the most of the people who seek therapy have, I see it at least in my practice, are very wounded there. The moment I tell them something like, you're great, you're a fantastic person, that I accept you are. If you haven't been accepted for who you are in your childhood, you most likely will find a partner, that's the law of attraction, who will mirror the same thing and also don't accept you for who you are. But you don't know that, and you try to please in order to be liked, which is not authentic. If you lose your authenticity out of fear not to be loved, because that's the message you got during your childhood, then it's very hard to have a real deep relationship where you feel safe and authentic.
And authentic. Well, it's one of the things you say here, which I'm telling you, this chapter is just amazing. All of my authors' chapters are amazing. I say this every time, but I'm just so excited about this book. But you said we all have I am. It's just, the more I get into it, the more I read it, and the more I'm like, are you kidding me? This thing is going to change so many people's lives. But it says here, it's like we all have a story. We are born into a family and part of a family soul. Family souls contain collected data of the past generations of people, places, and events that affect our lives today, our hidden truths. Life's hidden truths, systemic family work, is a unique method of awakening our knowledge of our inherited family dynamics, personal dynamics, and emotional patterns, and how dynamics relate in individuals, family, work, and life. Through unconscious loyalty and love to our family system, We can unknowingly become identified or merged with previous family members, often repeating their destructive patterns and manifesting similar afflictions and unresolved issues. This legacy can have a tremendous effect on our lives as well as our children's lives. Once these behavioral genetics are epigenetics, is that how you say that?
Yeah, you could.
Epigenetics, okay, are brought to light, a profound and deep healing process begins, giving way for a life-changing journey of personal discovery and growth. So in your chapter, you're actually going to be giving some examples of how the work can change perceptions and physical well-being as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's very profound. It is a very interesting work, and what I also like in it, that it shifts so fast and heals so fast most of the time, and it is discovering things you don't know it existed. You don't know that the blocks are there in that way, and it looks beyond judgment. That is so wonderful. If somebody says, I'm procrastinating my whole life, I cannot find the job I want, what I want, I don't get where I want to be, and you know what you said, 40, 50 years old, and then I start to work with a constellation and see where the energy goes, and then it pops up that if I set up the parents, for instance, then it is clear, can become clear, that it is due to the fact that the father never acknowledged the daughter's power, so to say. So the girl was actually still asking, or the woman in this case, was still asking kind of support. She didn't have that power within her. In a constellation, you use with certain sentences, and that works on the soul level because that's what you see then in the energetic, morpho-energetic field. If you're there, you know that you have experienced that, Kimberly. It's not easy to explain. And then you get the blessing of your father. The power of the blessing came back for me doing this work. I didn't know that it was so powerful. And then you get the support, and you turn around, and this person changes her life since then, you know. That happened many times. Just the confirmation, again, I'm okay, I'm good the way I am, and to feel powerful within yourself. This is just one example, and you can bring, that's also why it is called systemic, because families are systems, and if they're out of balance or whatever, or arranged marriages, or by love that isn't flowing, that gives also a lot of troubles and problems in relationships. So, yeah, there's a lot to do. One family at a time.
One family at a time, and I just love the fact that you're working with children, because if we can break, you know, with what all of our authors offer, you know, because all of us are different in what we teach, but if we can, you know, start with the children, because that's why I'm so passionate about working with the children in the juvenile detention centers and the treatment centers, which we're going to be releasing some information about that at Vision Quest. But it's so important, you know, to start with the children, because the children are learning from their patterns of learning those patterns from their parents who haven't been able to break that pattern or break that DNA chain. And so I'm just so honored, number one, that you do focus on happy children, happy home relationships, and you do focus on, you know, working with the parents as well, because, you know, there's so many people that I know that work just with adults or work just with, you know, a certain age group, that you're open to the whole family dynamic, which one can't heal if the others don't participate. I mean, you can, but getting the whole family involved in this work, I think, is just powerful.
Kimberly, you totally get it with how you say that now, because that is so true. In the traditional therapy I was giving, I had to suggest to people when they had issues with their parents, cut them off, you know, choose for yourself, choose for your own happiness. And on the long term, it's so detrimental. They do it less now, but it causes so much pain, and it's so extremely important to see as much as you can from the whole picture. You never can see the whole picture, a part of it, but you can try to see more than just one person. And again, if the picture gets bigger, you go beyond blue and guilt and shame and right and wrong. You understand so much more that things are just different ways of looking that people do. how do I say that? It was not a good sentence. It's a different way of looking at things.
Mm-hmm. Right, and so, but it's all about, letting go of the control and allowing, here's that word again, allowing people to be who they are. But again, there's no right or wrong, there's only choices. And the one thing that you say here too is like, anger and resentment is just not working whenever, you're judging your child. A child who hears a parent say, I don't trust them, will certainly not feel the urge to show how trustworthy he is. It's a lost cause already. So when you come from that angle, like for instance, one of the situations that you use here is if my son borrows my car and causes an accident because he drives too fast, the consequence is he can't borrow my car again. That's simple. It's not a matter of punishing. It's not a matter of judging or saying you're bad, you're bad, you're bad, or you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, or you suck, or you suck, or you suck, or you're a horrible son. You're nothing but you're just not good enough. Or all those things that parents say coming from fear and coming from anger and coming from control that puts those words into that child's subconscious mind because they're so eager to please their parents.
Yeah, and a lot of punishment, Kimberly, is kind of revenge, which is a very low energy, and it is not so nice. And coming back to that car example, it is also because I want to have peace of mind. That is my need. I want to live a happy life. And if I have to worry about my car, then my peace of mind is taken. So that's the thing. My daughter has a car, and I really taught her to bless her car and be very sending out just energy like she will be safe, and we focus on the safety, and I feel good about it. I'm not panicking. I'm fine. She is safe. It's fine. And that trust is something, trust is the opposite of science in a certain way. And our Western way of thinking is very much based on scientific proof. And trust you cannot prove. But if you start to learn from a different way to look at it, you start to discover, hey, there are other ways to look at it that helps, that it gives totally different worlds. So trust is so important. It is a big energy to work with, and it creates only positivity.
Boy, do I have some work to do still.
Oh, sweetheart, we all do. We all do.
Oh, and I'm not afraid to admit it. I mean, you know how I am.
That I love so much in you. I love that. Yeah. And that makes it so pure and good. I love that.
No, I'm not afraid to say, I became a human ass today.
No, but you know what? That makes it also colorful. Otherwise, it makes it colorful. It's all good. It's fine.
No. The reason I do that is because I just want people to know that it's okay not to be perfect, because that's when, as soon as you're being taught one more lesson, it's like, okay, it just catapults you to the next dimension of understanding even quicker. But the sooner that you can say, you know what, I messed up. That was not the right thing to do. How come I responded like that? And then digging into, your audios like this, or reading the books like we're going to be launching, and picking up something. It's like, okay, why did I do that? And let's make it better the next time, or whatever that means. Again, there's no right or wrong in the universe. It's just always learning on how can I be a better human being while I'm here on this earth. And again, I'm just so excited about this book, and so excited about these wonderful teachings that each one of you guys offer. You're going to be able to offer the people at the conference and beyond. So let's go on just a little bit. Okay, so I want to talk about, because a lot of people don't understand this, and I want to help people be very, very clear, and I think that you're going to be able to give our listeners maybe a different perspective, because, again, that's why I'm bringing so many different authors in my books, is I want people to have different perspectives so they can get that, aha, I get it. But one thing that I think human beings, have a rough time understanding is about the subconscious and the unconscious minds, and how much they are part of our soul that contain the data of all of our experiences. I knew you would.
I love that question. Sorry, I interrupted. I didn't hear that you were talking. It's sometimes not easy with the how do I say, the relay in time. What it is, I compare that usually with a computer. Your database, your subconscious, your unconscious mind is your database from all your experiences from your present life, and that's part of your soul as well, because that's the whole energy field around you, in you and around you. And also previous lifetimes are stored in your soul or sub or unconsciousness as well. So it is just giving it a certain name. And we have access to that, but thank God we don't have that the whole time, because you don't want to recall every minute of your life the whole time. That wouldn't work. We would lose ourselves totally in focus, which is again a way of how brilliant are we created, how that's magnificent if you realize that we have a selective memory, short-term and a long-term, and that short-term dissipates after a while. That's actually so genius. And, the sub and unconsciousness becomes the motor in our present life from how we behave, because our beliefs are there, our experience, and the way how we digested our experiences. And that becomes part of our personality. That's how we deal with things. That's how we all have different personalities for whatever reasons. Maybe we are born like that because we have the memories of past lives, or it is the way we wanted to be on earth with that kind of personality in order to learn. So it's all part of that field that you cannot see but is very present, the sub and unconscious mind.
So let's talk a little bit about ego.
Sure. Okay, there we go. What I love to say about ego, well, Freud has a nice explanation, and there are other therapists too and other psychologists. It doesn't matter. But I like very much the viewpoint of the metaphysical world on ego, and that is it is something you need to have a little bit of, but you need to be aware when it is speaking and when not. And this phrase I would love to jump out or jump in this story or to shoot in this interview, whatever, is judgment never stems from love. It stems from the ego. And nonviolent communication, I'm a trainer in that, and I call it crystal clear communication, because the word violent is in that other word. It's based on the work of Gandhi. But that communication style has a clear model, 4 steps. When you start to realize what is the difference in observation and evaluation, judgment, criticism, etc., and you should feel yourself changing in your feelings when you talk in a certain way. So that's great if people start to realize the first step, that you observe without judgment. Wow, that gives such an impact on themselves. And the ego, of course, is involved in criticism, because we start to comparison too. It's comparing, I'm better than you or you're better than me, and then I get insecure. So it's totally not based on we are one thought and we are all good the way we are. It's totally the opposite. And then the ego is often very fear-based, which is sad. So I'm never disturbed when people have a very big ego. If I really don't like it, I stay a bit away. But I see they're lacking on the other side something. They really lack some confidence and love and compassion. So I see it always in that way. So that's not so painful then to be heard by people who have a big ego.
And this is happening all the time because people are such a fear base, and that's what's happening in the world. And I had this show up. My ego showed up really, really, really powerful the other day to come in and really take over. That I had to really get centered again. It's like, whoa, Kimberly, what is your mission? What is it you do? You better walk your walk and talk your talk. And then I realized what that was. And again, like you said, some of the ego serves you, but again, coming from love and peace and joy, just makes everything and everybody around you so much more peaceful, because when you come from that space, instead of ego and identifying to that part of your I am that is boastful or cocky or all those negative energies that people just don't want to be around you. they see that, they sense that, and that's when you come from the competition. The competition shows up, and there's no such thing as competition. We're all one, and that really just hit me when I read that part of your chapter. About the ego speaking versus who you truly are and who your authentic self is truly.
Yeah, it's wonderful how you say that. And it is also sad because when people have a big ego, it means that they are not so much in touch with their hearts and with their love and compassion, etc. They are just trying to prove they are good or better. And that does mean that they are, they're out of balance. It's, again, out of balance. Something is missing, and that is sad. It requires totally different education. It requires a totally different education system, if you would. And it's actually sad that we need first to be an adult or even much later before we get that, and we are allowed to learn it. Because I think children get that. If you see the joy little kids have in their eyes, 1, 2 years old, they enjoy everything. They even enjoy their own feces. They love everything. And we take that joy slowly away with our judgment and our rules and telling them how to be. And they're good or bad, very simple. I was very shocked when I came in the U.S. 7 years ago to Florida that people very easily said, that's the bad kid. And I was thinking, that's not a bad kid. They don't exist, bad kids. You have kids who have, their needs are not met. They are missing something. They are lacking something, probably love and care. I had a couple session with a cub and his wife, and I was saying to him or to them that bad kids didn't exist. And he exploded from like, please, Carla, no, this goes too far. And I was laughing, and I said, I understand that. Your perspective is you want to create safety, so you look at what people do, it's safe or not. I am trying to help children or people to feel better and to see what is their problem or why it is the way that they are the way they are. So it was we had a lot of fun about that, because it's funny to say to a cub, there are no bad children, bad kids. But it's just a perception.
Well, again, it stems back to our childhood, and it really does, and it stems back to our parents. I know for a fact that, Allison's going through a few challenges with her parents, and, like I said, ever since I did that work with you, and then my mother and I got back together, I see her in a totally different light. And I forgave her, and that's the most important thing. But when I got to see, really experience loving her instead of blaming her, I mean, it's been a totally, has she changed? No. But I can choose to react to her differently, and I continue to just love her for who she is. It is what it is. She is who she is. One of the things you say here is love is the most important energy to make life worth living and to create the highest good. Babies who get fed but experience no love simply die. What about all those kids who just get enough love to stay alive? And also in our intimate relationships, we mirror and encounter our deepest issues and our unresolved relationships with our parents. Want to be happy in your relationships? Then create peace in your heart with your parents. No matter how terrible your childhood was, your parents were also a product of their circumstances. See, that's what I really want people to understand, that my mother made me the way I am, or I do this because of how I was raised. Well, a lot of times, or my mother was horrible, or my mother was a crack whore, or my mother was, drunk, or whatever. It's just, but we have no idea how they were raised. And again, we're getting into this family pattern that can be broken. And by you, the people who are listening to this audio, by you taking the step and working with Carla Van Walsum, or working with one of the authors in the book, or doing something, but this work is very powerful, I have to admit. Doing something.
Thank you so much.
And I also know that Susan Miller also does this kind of work, and you guys have two totally different approaches. And, it's like, who are you going to resonate with? But this work is very powerful, my friends. So, find somebody in your local area, or contact Carla, or contact Susan, or contact somebody to break this pattern. I think it's about breaking the pattern.
Yeah, and healing the negativity.
Okay, well, we've got about 10 minutes left. So is there anything, Carla, that, because I need about 2 or 3 minutes at the end just to wrap it up a little bit. So, your chapter, again, everyone, please visit visionquestconference.com. Get to Vision Quest, get to this book launch, and be sure to buy this book. I know that each one of the authors are going to have 100 copies. We're going to be going global, we're going to say, for my thinking. We're getting national attention. We're going to be going global very, very quickly. So, there's only going to be like a couple hundred copies to begin with over here at Allow Your Spirit to Soar. But this book is just going to be, just absolutely amazing. So speaking a little bit about what you would like our listeners to know about your work, about more of your work, you've got about 5, 6, or 7 minutes to just tell people, how they can get a hold of you, how they can work with you, whether you're local, whether you can do this through Skype. So just tell our listeners how they can reach you.
Okay, thank you so much for that opportunity. Well, my website is connected with my name, carlavanwalsum.com, and the other one is Life's Hidden Truth, but they are connected. My phone number, shall I give my phone number?
If you'd like, if you want people to call you directly, that's fine.
That could be 561-860-4883. And on the internet, my name, I have articles and blogs that pops up. And I do indeed Skype. I do over the phone. I love to do in person. I do workshops. I love to travel. And I'm going more and more traveling. So things are unfolding, which is great. And everybody can always call for a question. If I think I can help them, I would try to work with them or would work with them. And, I don't know what else so much to say.
Well, let me ask you one. So if you could give our listeners one tip or a message, so of how to trust the voice inside of them and how good it really, really, really feels when they do. Can you share
what comes up?
Go ahead.
Sorry, that was the relay again. What comes up for me now to say is, please discover the thoughts you have, if they are fear-based or not, and that you only take decisions that are free of fear. Otherwise, you manifest something that you don't need to manifest. Follow that, trust your feeling, trust your intuition. Really are in silence for a few minutes a day even, and really listen to your heart and to your feelings. I was working today with a young kid, and I think he was like 10, 11, and I asked about how do you feel when you see that? And he could only describe observations from a distance. He could not feel. And it was a totally normal kid. He was not used ever to look at his feelings. How am I feeling? So we spoke about intuition, and where is it? Well, he knew to find his heart. So to really feel in your side, your gut is telling you, and listen to that. We all have that voice inside, and if you're insecure, if it's the right thing you hear, even you can even ask other people. You can go to people who can maybe help you with that to get more clarity by mirroring. But follow your inner guidance. Be ready to listen and to trust and to feel it. And if it is good for you, it feels inside of you good. A good message will never give you a bad feeling. It resonates. It's like, yes, I'm here in Florida still. I was supposed to be here 3 years, and I will go back. And after 1 year, I said, no, I belong here. I have to be here for whatever reason. I have to be here. And my parents were not so happy, but that's the thing. That's life. And I know I have to be here. And I didn't know exactly why. I had a kind of idea, but follow that feeling. If it feels good, that's the most important thing. And the other thing is, tell yourself, I want to feel good. I intend to feel good. Focus on good. And a lot of things will unfold. And you know where to go. Trust yourself.
Trust yourself. And it's a matter of deserving. Everyone, because God doesn't want us, the universe doesn't want us sad, doesn't want us poor, doesn't want us suffering. It's truly, it's such an amazing, amazing way to live our lives, and I just feel so blessed that I got it this lifetime. Hard telling how many lifetimes it took me to get here, but that's okay. Yeah, but I'm okay. I'm all right. So I'm anxious to see what's on the next side.
You're doing great, Kimberly. Admit it.
Yeah. So here's what I love this epilogue that you have here. It says, I truly hope that Americans will open their minds to the systemic family work as it has happened in so many other countries, because this is a very Eastern modality that's just now coming into the Western Hemisphere. And
no, it is European. It is European.
European, right. European, I'm sorry. European, right. Unthinkable solutions and changes are provided where hardly any equivalent is to be found, and it is great to combine with other modalities as I am doing. The focus in the world is shifting towards a more holistic and healthy lifestyle. When people heal from scars of the past, a totally different society will emerge. When we utilize the powers of mind and soul to heal our heritage will show that cure. Healthy mind, healthy body is around the corner, and the choice for chemical pills could diminish. Yay! Since science shows that our DNA can change, we can impact the future of ourselves and generations to come. 2012, renewal. Change your life, change your future. I thought that was amazing on how you wrapped that up.
Nobody has to read it anymore. You read my whole chapter, I think.
No. There's plenty more here, everyone. Not at all. And actually, this audio set is going to be available with the book. So it's going to help for people to listen to their cars or to their iPods or on their iPhones or whatever. But when they actually sit down and read the book, it's going to be going along with it. So it's just complementing it. There's plenty more people in this book. So anyway, all right, so we're going to wrap it up now, and I just wanted to thank everybody for being here this evening. I love you all very, very much. Happy Valentine's Day. Today is February 14th of 2012, and I'm just so thankful that Vision Quest is very close. I think we're like 6 or 7 weeks out, and it's just going to be an amazing conference. So please go to visionquestconference.com for more information. And with that, I think we're going to say good night.
Thank you so much, Kimberly.
I love you, Carla.
I love you.
God bless.
God bless.